The fast will break, and you will have to do qada after Ramadan of this fast. But there will be no kafara, no extra 60 fasts or freeing of a slave or 60 fasts or feeding a miskin, 60 masakin. Ji.
Putting something by force into the mouth of one who is fasting, and such a thing goes down the throat.
Right. If someone force feeds you and you are fasting and someone comes along and pushes something into your mouth and you happen to swallow it, there's no kafara. You have to do qada, but there's no kafara. Ji.
Water unintentionally going down the throat while gargling when one has the intention of fasting.
Right. Keep this one in mind. People confuse this. There's a difference between carelessness and forgetfulness. What have I just said?
There's a difference between carelessness and...
Come on, everybody. Carelessness and forgetfulness. Yeah. So nisyan and khata. So basically, when you forget that you are fasting, you can drink a whole milkshake, no consequence. But when you know that you are fasting and you accidentally swallow water while rinsing your mouth during ghusl or wudu, then this will break your fast, because it's not because you forgot, it's because you were a bit careless. Do you understand? Does this make sense? It will break your fast, but you'll only do qada. There's no kafara. Ji.
Swallowing vomit.
Swallowing vomit will break your fast. There's qada, there's no kafara. Meaning, it can happen where it comes up into your mouth and you were careless in not being able to spit it out. This can happen. Then it would break your fast. Ji.
Intentionally swallowing a pebble, piece of stone, seed nut, earth, or a piece of paper.
Right. People have a habit of chewing random things. By the way, you don't bite your nails, anybody, do you? So, or some people will chew the end of their pen, and some people will put the key into their mouth, and some people will... So paper, pebble. So these types of things, first of all, it's a bad habit. Don't do it. Get rid of the habit. These are the small personal habits. May Allah grant us tawfiq, grant me tawfiq, grant you tawfiq, to refine our character and catch ourselves out when we do habitually things which are pointless or harmful. So if you swallow one of these things, although they are not technically food, you've done it intentionally, so you do qada of that fast, but there's no kafara. Ji.
Knowingly breaking a fast in other than the days of Ramadan.
If you are fasting outside of Ramadan and you break it, there's no kafara. Now there are different situations. Is the fast fard because it's a qada of Ramadan? Is it wajib because you had made a promise to Allah that you would fast if such a thing went right for you, or was some problem was resolved? Or if it was a sunnah fast because it was the day of Arafah or the like, or if it was a nafil fast because you just chose to fast. All of these, if you break a fast outside of Ramadan, there's no kafara, there's only qada. But if wajib and fard fast should not be broken. And a nafil fast, you have the option of breaking it in certain circumstances. For example, when you're someone's host, if you want to give them company in the meal, and you can keep it later. But you should make it up. Ji.
Having an enema done.
Enema. Having an enema done. Enema is when it's an internal bath from the rear passage. When water is taken in from the rear passage, and it's to flush out the colon. People do it for health reasons, to remove blockage, etc. This will break the fast. In the month of Ramadan, outside the month of Ramadan, this will break the fast. If anybody has to do this or has to apply medicine in this way. What is it called? A suppository? Any doctors here? Medics? Yeah. So medicine put in through the rear passage will break the fast, and it needs to be repeated, but there's no kafara, just one fast.
Putting medicine into the nostrils.
Putting medicine into the nostrils essentially goes into the head. It's the same passage, the back. It will break your fast.
Putting drops into the ears.
Right. This is the traditional position of fiqh. That putting drops into the ears does break your fast.
Swallowing blood which comes from the gums, if the quantity of this blood is more than the saliva with which it is mixed.
Right. So if someone's got a problem with bleeding gums, their gums bleed. It's frequently the case because of certain types of gum disease and sometimes because of harsh brushing or whatever. If someone's got a problem with bleeding gums and the blood dominates the saliva, there's more blood than saliva, it needs to be spat out. If it's swallowed, it will break the fast. And there'll be qada, no kafara.
eating something unintentionally, then intentionally eating or drinking more, thinking that the fast is broken.
Okay, so you forgot that you were fasting and you began to eat something. And then you remembered that you were fasting and you thought to yourself, well, I've already eaten something, my fast is broken, might as well finish it. Now, the finishing bit is going to break your fast. Yes? So initially, so if you remember while you are eating or drinking something, then you'd better stop, because the fast will be broken if you continue. To the extent that anything in your mouth, you need to remove from your mouth. G.
To have sehri thinking that it is not yet so sadiq and learning later on that it was morning.
Yes,
already.
if you miscalculate the time. By the way, our masjid's timetable, and we used across the city, I advise you all to complete your eating and brushing and drinking of water and taking of medicines within a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes after the recommended time. After the recommended time. Because there is a variation in different parts of the city, and the Fajr time actually starts a couple of minutes after the end of suhoor, and that gap is kept for the rest of the year for caution. So do respect the recommended time of closing your fast, and within 2 to 3 minutes of that, close your fast. This is important. Take your medication, do your brushing, drink your water, etc. And if you have missed that 2-3 minute margin maximum of the recommended sehri closing time, then consider it to be Fajr time. Then after a minute or two later, you can actually read your Fajr. So do not then. And so now the masla here, and you know, this actually happened in Makkah once. We were in the hotel and the window was shut. Nowadays you have a speaker in each room as well, mashallah. You hear the adhan in Makkah. We didn't hear the adhan. So this can happen. So if you miscalculate the time, you look at yesterday's time instead of today's, your watch is slow, whatever, and you eat. This is not the same as eating by out of forgetfulness. This is eating by mistake. Forgetting and making a mistake is not the same. So if you open your roza too soon by mistake, or close your roza too late by mistake, your fast is broken and there's a qada, no kafara. Incidentally, there's much more gap at the iftar time. So if you did happen to open it a couple of minutes earlier, I'm saying a couple is, these days people think a couple is, can I see you for a couple of minutes? And it's 15 minutes. How much is a couple? How many if you know a nice couple of people, how many will there be? And one will be male and the other? Yes. Yibi yadriku. True? Yes? Right. Yibi aqidah ki baat hai. This is also related to aqidah. Okay? So a married couple, it consists of one male and one biological male and one biological female. G. Let us proceed. G.
To break the fast.
G.
To break the fast before the sunset, believing it to be iftari time.
Yeah. So if you actually open your fast before the sun has actually set, by mistake, then you have still broken your fast and you need to do qada. G.
Applying medicine to a deep stomach or head wound.
Right. If there's a stomach wound, a wound to the abdomen or to the head, it's not superficial, it goes into the skin. It's a deep wound. Then applying medicine to this will cause the fast to break. See, essentially the usul here, the principle is that anything that gets into the head or into the stomach, the abdomen, it doesn't mean the actual stomach area. You understand? The abdomen or the head. If it goes in, it'll break the fast. The eyes are an exception because of a hadith. So that exception does not apply to anything else.